Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Arena for Varsity Girls Basketball Competition. Please welcome our guests from Jones High School. They are the Tigers. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Before we begin our game this evening, we ask that you please stand and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. And now let's meet the teams. We'll begin with our guests from Jones. And we'll start for the Tigers. At point guard with 5'5" junior number 2, Takaya Alston. At guard and wing, 5'5" senior number 3, Kamaya Webb. At guard, 5'5" senior number 4, Denisha Sutherland. At guard and wing, 5'7" senior number 5, Renaya White. And finally, for the Tigers, at forward and center, 6'1" senior, number 12, Renata Schofield. And the head coach of the Tigers, Harold Jacobs. And now let's meet the starting lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Starting at guard, 5'6" junior, number 4, Shadaria Smith. At forward, 5'11" senior, number 21, Danisha Bowles. At guard, 5'8" senior, number 3, Mayanna Garrett. At guard, 5'5" senior, number 12, Briera Williams. And finally for the Mustangs, at guard, 5'9" senior, number 15, Emmy James. The Mustangs are coached by Mr. Tommy Butts, with assistant coaches Keisha Brown, Griffin, LaToya Russell, George Spear, and managers Mary Grant, Amari Griffin, and Marita Hamdas. The officials for tonight's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. We thank them for their dedicated service to our high school athletic programs and join them along our participating schools, reminding everyone to make great sportsmanship a part of this and every athletic competition. For those of you who have friends and family back in Orlando, elsewhere in Apopka, or anywhere in the world, if they are not able to join us in person tonight, make sure you send them a message right now. Tell them they can tune in live on the NFHS network or on our YouTube channel, Wekiva Sports. Just search for Wekiva Sports on the YouTube app with your favorite computer, mobile device, or smart TV. Or if you happen to be a member of the NFHS network, we simulcast there as well. Again, Wekiva Sports on YouTube. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to all of you joining us online. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs. I am accompanied, as always, by Neil Fisher of the Apopka Chief, and we are ready to take you through some Tuesday night girls basketball action.
As always, Mark, good to be at Mustang Arena. And as you mentioned, this is Wekiva versus Jones.
Garrett's little jumper there won't go. The rebound goes to the Tigers' Schofield, and Jones is a pretty sharp team. They've had a good start to their season so far. They opened their season this year at 5-3. Mustangs struggling a little bit, although the Mustangs certainly better than their record, as they picked a couple of nationally ranked teams in the opening week of their season to really see where they stood, and the answer was, well, not where they wanted to be.
Yeah, they got some work to do. Also, Mark, Wekiva, of course, 3-3, as you just mentioned. They have yet to really be able to throw all their starting 5 out. Actually, I believe this is the first game that they've played with their intended starting 5.
Yeah, I think it may be the second, but you're right, Neil. They have had some challenges getting their roster, which is really just a hallmark that Tommy Butts doesn't really want to be known for, but nevertheless, it is the legacy that he has, that the Mustangs have struggled with injuries and other kinds of issues with their rosters for years now. And now the Mustangs are at full strength. You saw 4 out of 5 of the starters are seniors. And they're going to say that touched the backboard equipment. That is the equivalent of out of bounds, so it'll be a team rebound for the Tigers. It's an issue that you only have in high school. In college, they don't suspend the backboards from the ceiling.
That doesn't matter. Also, too, again, as you mentioned, Jones is 5-3. While that's not really to use Keith Jackson's phrase, a barn burner of a record, they are much like Wekiva in the fact they pick nationally ranked teams. They look for teams that really challenge them.
Myanna Garrett with some good work on defense, getting an extra possession for the Mustangs there, causing the Tiger turnover.
And Jones is always a team that has expectations of, at the very least, contending to get into the FHSAA postseason tournament. They're actually a lot like Wekiva in the fact that they find the same kind of players, nothing particularly big, average height, maybe some average weight, but very athletic, as we've seen so far, despite the 3 turnovers.
Yeah, both teams struggling on their first few possessions with turnovers.
They like to get the ball up and down, of course, Jones that is. And they like to make a lot of quick ball movement in order to open up some outside shooting. Of course, once you get that outside open shooting, then you can go inside here.
Myanna Garrett to Shadarius Smith to put the Mustangs on the board. And Neil, as you and I have commiserated on many times, those transition plays, while a lot of teams really favor them, including these two, they are high risk, high reward. And at least for the first couple of possessions, we've seen the risk side of that play out a little bit more.
Yeah, and the other thing, though, too, is what these two teams do very well is they produce a lot of those high risk, high opportunities.
Backward violation. Tigers ball. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 22, Shania McCarthy.
And as I always like to say, Mark, you don't have to be a basketball guru to understand the more field goal attempts, the more possessions you can get the ball up and down the court, the more points you can score. So both these teams, it's not just a matter of taking that high risk, high reward. It's also a matter of creating more than the opponent in a high number.
Foul's called against number 22, Shania McCarthy. Her first of the team's first. The basket by Kamaya Webb is good. She's shooting with a three-point play.
So again, Mark, getting back to my point of both these teams like to move up and down and have the same type of team, same type of players, that being an athletic team, players that can get up down the court. They're also very deep.
Yes, indeed they are, and the Mustangs here are going to get a little bit of a break, but boy, that's a rough pass. It's deflected out of bounds by Renata Schofield. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Emmy James. Into the paint, good look, and it's there. Myanna Garrett from Emmy James.
So again, both baskets scored by Garrett here, doing an excellent job of being able to create some open lanes there. And of course, 2 excellent passes have set up the ability to drive the lane.
Now, those are well-designed plays and well executed against the design. Here we're going to get a steal. And it ultimately works out in the Mustangs' favor, but that was a scary couple of seconds there. Checking into the game for Wekiva, Erica Simmons. Simmons can't get it to go from under the basket. Rebound goes to Webb. 3 attempts, short for Alston. Nobody wants to touch it. And they're going to say that one off Wekiva.
So again, neither team off to a great start. To put it mildly, field goal percentage-wise, of course, Wekiva, even though they've won 2 state championships and made the playoffs 6 straight years, they've never been a very proficient shooting team.
Anna Garrett from Emmy James. And there we see a slightly rotated version of the play that we saw just a moment ago. And expect the Mustangs, as long as they can make that play successful, they're probably going to keep returning to it. Down the baseline. And a wild shot and an ugly shot.
Yeah, great defense there by Mustangs, the whole team. Good rotation.
Bree Williams from downtown.
That's Bree.
Timeout Tigers. 30-second timeout requested by Jones. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Parchi and Neil Fisher here with you with about 3:15 to go in the first period. Mustangs out to a 9-3 lead thanks to that 3 bombshell dropped by Bree Williams, in addition to a couple of great passes from James to Garrett. That's what's gotten us to where we are. Jones struggling to get any real inside penetration. They have the 1 3-point play, and that's about all they have to show for it.
And that was actually the first 3-point field goal attempt.
Basket for the Tigers by number 15, Fitzgerald.
Both teams man-to-man here. Another missed basket there by Wekiva.
Number 12, Bree Williams on the pass to Garrett. Was that Mayanna? Okay, and who just made that one? Who just scored there? What?
42.
Erica Simmons. And now everything happening so fast we can barely get it all into the stat program fast enough.
Yeah, please bear with us. Remember, we have to do our own stats. So, but yes, as we mentioned, these teams like to get up and down the court, and we just saw they started off, I guess you could say, in 4th gear, and they just moved into 5th gear over the last minute or so, now that they've gone past that feeling out stage. As I mentioned, both teams in man-to-man.
Emmy James picks up 2 for the Mustangs.
So Wekiva's opened up an 8-point lead here, Mark. And they've been doing it again with the trademark Wekiva style of play, getting that ball up and down the court.
Missed there by Hall, gets rebounded by Bowles.
And as I was saying, Wekiva, of course, both teams do, but in this case it's working more so for Wekiva up and down the court. And they don't have a particularly high field goal percentage. They haven't had it throughout Tommy Butt's run, despite 2 state championships and 6 straight playoffs. What they do is they create more possessions through turnovers and offensive rebounds, and certainly that has been the difference tonight.
3 each is called against Shadaria Smith. Her first, the team's second.
Wekiva, of course, as we mentioned, they create a lot of turnovers and do so through man-to-man defense. Not a smart play there, though. Or at least it was a smart play to foul, but not a smart play in the reason they had to foul.
Madeline Tazee is called on the foul. Her first, team's third. Fitzgerald shooting.
A poor rotation there on a pick and roll allowed the Is that Williams?
2 for 2 at the free throw line for Fitzgerald. That cuts it back to a 6-point ball game. Inside pass, good look, and it's there. Denisha Bowles to Shania McCarthy for 2.
Nice soft touch there. Using that rim there to the advantage. 11 seconds now for Jones.
Denasia Sutherland gets the basket and a chance to make it a 3-point play. The Mustang foul is called against number 21, Denisha Bowles. Her first personal foul, the team's fourth.
And
not a foul you want to make with 0.4 of a second left.
No, let that clock run out.
That takes us to the end of the first period. 6-point ball game, 17-11 is your score. At the end of the opening 8 minutes here on Tuesday night basketball action at Mustang Arena. We'll be right back. Tigers have the opening possession of the second quarter. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Parchi here with Neil Fisher, ready to take you through this second quarter. Sutherland misses a 3 to get things started, but an offensive rebound goes to Williams. Alston opens up second quarter scoring for the Tigers.
Strong inside play there by Alston. Unfortunately, Wekiva again did not rotate underneath that basket.
Offensive foul is called against Denisha Bowles. Her second personal foul, the team's fifth.
And looking at the stats here, Mark, we got a bit of a surprise. I mentioned Wekiva throughout Tommy Butts' tenure as head coach has not been a particularly strong shooting team, but they are shooting 50% tonight, 8 of 16, and they even, although not shooting the ball well from beyond the three-point range, only 1 of 5, that's still one more tray than Jones has made. Jones only 4 of 14 for 29%.
Denisha Bowles. And she took too many steps to give Bree Williams an assist there, but still a nice pass to set that up.
And the other big advantage Wekiva has is rebounding. It's 12-6.
So we're back to a 6-point ball game. Just over a minute. There's a steal by Garrett. She snuck back in during the break between quarters. And here Garrett is going to be called for 3 seconds in the key. Tigers ball.
So a sloppy start here to the second quarter, Mark. 3 turnovers combined now. And we actually only had 3 for each team in that first quarter.
Shot by Webb won't fall. Garrett gets the rebound. Mayanna Garrett is fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. Foul's called against number 10, Cassiana Williams on the push. That's her first personal foul, the team's first.
So Garrett with 4 points. Make that 5 points now. She is 2 of 3 from the field, now 1 of 1 at the free throw line. And I mentioned that offensive rebounding is one of the 2 ways that really sticks out as far as Wekiva creating more possessions. And to that point, they have 4 offensive rebounds in that first quarter. And by the way, those were the first 2 free throws Wekiva has attempted this game. Both teams, as you would expect in today's age, going man-to-man.
Long basket attempt by Sutherland. Not there. McCarthy there and ready to make the rebound. We'll go the other way. Here comes James, gets stopped at the paint. Dumps it off to McCarthy and then to Bowles. Bowles, nice pass. It's in there. Tanisha Bowles on the pass to Shania McCarthy. And Coach Butch likes that.
Looked like last season there. Beautiful give and go as the ball moved straight through the paint from top to the basket. And Wekiva's opened up a 9-point lead here.
What just happened? Technical foul called against the Mustangs at the line shooting 2, Amani Fitzgerald. I am not sure what happened.
Me neither.
Technical foul called against Wekiva in some form or fashion, and I don't really know what it is.
15.
So 1 out of 2 at the free throw line on the technical free throws. And the other thing, as you mentioned, Neil, is that also awards possession, although in this case Jones had possession of the ball anyway when that was called.
Well, in this case it extends the possession.
Shot from under the basket, not there on the layup. Foul is called against number 22, Shania McCarthy. That's her second, the team's 6th. At the line shooting, Denasia Sutherland. So not a good turn of events there for the Mustangs as the Tigers missed. McCarthy got the rebound, but then immediately threw the ball away and then caused a foul. So now the Tigers get a couple extra free throws, and they convert neither of them. Good box out by Bowles. Full court man-to-man coverage coming on by the Tigers. Out of bounds, Tigers ball. So not a steal in the traditional sense, but Cassiana Williams made that happen. Long ball, short for Sutherland. Bowles, another rebound coming up for her. She's got 5 already. She goes to the other end, and Shanaria Smith picks up the Mustang layup.
And Wekiva certainly caught several breaks there on that last possession.
Yeah, they're able to make it happen in transition. Caught the Tigers a little flat-footed there.
And 10-point lead, largest of the game here for Wekiva. And after that initial 2 minutes or so at feeling out process, these teams really seem to have found their flow here, moving the ball very well and very fluidically. Unfortunately for Jones, they're not making the field goal attempts.
Mayanna Garrett is fouled on the way up. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. Foul is called against number 5, Renaya White. That's her first personal foul. The team's second. First free throw is short. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Amanda McClendon, making her first appearance on this Tuesday night.
So Wekiva did not take a free throw attempt in that first quarter. They have now taken 4. This will be the 4th one.
And it bounces out. Nice work by McClendon fighting for that one, forcing Fitzgerald to step on the end line on the rebound. And so even though McClendon won't get credit for that rebound directly, she does cause an offensive team rebound for Wekiva.
I also point out, Mark, again, 12 rebounds for Wekiva in that first quarter. They actually doubled Jones. They're on pace to do that again here. They have 8 on the defensive end in the first quarter. They now have 4.
Air ball from Emmy James, and they're going to say that McCarthy was out of bounds when she rebounded that. I'm going to be kind, and I'm just going to give a team rebound to Jones instead of charging McCarthy with a turnover.
Such a softie, Mark.
Well, it was way over at the other end of the court. I couldn't see whether she was inbounds when she rebounded it or not.
It's the giving season.
It is.
No, it's the giving.
Now that, on the other hand, I'm going to call a turnover on. Out of bounds, Mustangs ball. Checking into the game for the Tigers, Renata Schofield.
Yeah, say, it's the giving season because it gets dark here halfway through the junior varsity game.
That is true. Smith, and she's not going to get a call there. And they are going to say that Jones touched it. So I guess by definition, that means that it was a blocked shot. James got it. Shadaria Smith to Emmy James for a Mustang jumper.
Fade away there. Nice job by James of keeping lined up to that basket. Nice soft touch there. And, of course, excellent job of getting into open territory off the inbound pass.
Stolen and fouled. Shadaria Smith draws the foul. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. Tiger foul is called against number 5, Renaya White. That's her second personal foul, the team's third.
My score good? White 26, green 14. Score. Is my score good?
So Smith with 4 points, 2 of 4 from the field. These are her first 2 attempts at the line. And Wekiva got off to an excellent start there at the line, making the first 2 free throws. They've now missed 3 in a row. Again, you could be looking at a 15-point deficit, actually an 18-point deficit. Excuse me, a 16-point deficit instead of 13.
Thank you, that's what I thought.
And also mentioned here as Wekiva remains in the man-to-man defense. Both teams did an excellent job with the turnovers, 3 each. Jones now has 4 with 2.5 minutes left in the second quarter.
Takaya Alston for 3 on the pass from Denasia Sutherland. Tuesday on the pass into Erica Simmons for the Mustang basket.
So again, Wekiva does an excellent job off the inbound pass and getting the players open.
There's
again,
an unforced error right there as Alston throws it out of bounds. We're going to get a substitution here. Bree Williams into the game for Wekiva.
5th turnover by Jones. They had only 3 in that entire first quarter. And to follow up on that last possession, and Wekiva doing an excellent job off the inbound pass, not only are they getting the ball into their open players, open territory, but they're also doing it while the players are leaning and squared up towards the basket.
That's deflected out of bounds by Renaya White.
Going to the backcourt there, smart play. And again, Wekiva, as we mentioned, they like to move up and down transition, but they can play a deliberate pace as well.
Shadaria Smith for 3 from Emmy James.
And there you see the dividends for that deliberate pace, a much more thinking possession there than we've seen. And now Wekiva with the largest lead of the ball game, 16 points with 1.5 minutes left before halftime.
Couple of offensive rebounds in a row for the Tigers. Cassiana Williams is fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Tigers. Foul is called against Emmy James. That's her first personal foul, and the team's 7th.
Is that 15 at the line? 10. So Williams has yet to score any points. She has not taken any attempts from the field, and this is her first 2 free throw attempts.
Diana Garrett in for the Mustangs, Fitzgerald for the Tigers.
And some very valuable, much-needed points for Jones there. Cut the lead back down to 14.
Bree Williams for 3.
And I think when you sum this all up here, as we drop under a minute, you can talk about Wekiva taking the lead, and as we mentioned, offensive rebounds and turnovers. But in order to keep that lead, you need to answer your opponent, which Wekiva has done throughout this first half.
Sutherland chases down her own rebound. And there's the hand check right there. Madeline Tuzzi is called on the hand check. That's her second personal foul. The team's 8th at the line, shooting 1-1, Denasia Sutherland.
And 37.8 seconds left here in the half mark.
And so if
Bonus.
there is one thing that Wekiva is struggling with relative to the Tigers, it is the fouling situation. And although you could also argue that that is a function of how aggressively the Mustangs are playing compared to the Tigers. That goes out of bounds off of Garrett. Tigers get the ball. So another possession coming to Jones. And it is Cassiana Williams from Kamaya Webb for 3.
So again, much needed points here by Jones, but Wekiva has answered throughout this first half.
Mustangs are going to hold the ball here, make sure they get the last shot. Williams a little off the mark. Madeline Tuzzi on the Mustang putback. And that takes us to the end of the first half, and the Mustangs are out to a 16-point lead. 38-22 is the score at intermission here in the Varsity Contest Tuesday night basketball action at Mustang Arena. We'll be back shortly. The Mustangs have the opening possession of the third period. And welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here along with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, ready to take you through the second half of what's been a pretty good game so far for Wekiva. Not a whole lot to complain about, Neil.
Yeah, a 38-22 lead. Took a couple minutes for Wekiva to find its footing, so to speak, but since then they've pretty much outscored Jones. Take a quick look here. I also want to mention, we mentioned this at the beginning of the game, this is only the second game through the first 7 that Wekiva has actually had all 5 of its intended starters actually starting. So mention Wekiva, even though they've won 2 state championships, as we get a miss here, and they've made the playoffs 6 straight years, they've never been a particularly good shooting a good shooting team. Tonight, so they are lights out. 59%, 16 of 27, 26% for Jones, 7 of 27. And again, you don't have to be a basketball guru to understand you can overcome a lot of other bad stats or just bad play when you're shooting 59% compared to 26.
Well, their shooting percentage is going to fall a little bit there, but the rebounding is going to make it all better. Bree Williams going to try to go coast to coast here. Doesn't fall, but Bree Williams is fouled prior to the attempt. That'll be on the floor. Foul is called against number 3, Kamaya Webb, on the block. That's her first personal foul, the team's first this half. Checking into the game for the Tigers, Imani Fitzgerald.
And Wekiva also has a big advantage in rebounds. That's 22-12 there. So you add those 2 up and you get a 16-point lead at halftime.
Another miss there. So Mustangs shooting 0% since coming back from the break.
0 of 4. Of course, a 16-point lead does give you a little bit more room to be able to miss a few field goals.
Imani Fitzgerald is fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot 2. Foul is called against Mustangs number 3, Mayanna Garrett. That's her first personal foul, and the team's first.
So Fitzgerald with 5 points. 1 of 2 from the field, 3 of 4 at the line, now 3 of 5. And both teams remain in man-to-man. We've seen that throughout the entire contest.
James cuts to Garrett in the paint. Nothing there. Back to James. And they are going to say that went off of the Tigers. That was Schofield that got in the way of that one. Mustangs, frankly, narrowly avoided a 3-second call there.
Yeah, a bit rusty here, to put it mildly, at the start of the second half. Again, they looked pretty much the same in the first half there. Needed a couple minutes to find their game, so to speak. Some tenacious rebounding there by Smith, though. That should help towards finding their game.
Foul's called against Imani Fitzgerald, her first, the team's second. And James is shooting 2.
So James now remains at 5 points. 2 of 4 from the field. Those were her first 2 free throw attempts.
Schofield on the rebound.
And once again, Wekiva has the biggest lead of the game at 16.
Basket scored by number 15, Imani Fitzgerald.
A much-needed bucket there by Jones.
Denisha Bowles punches into the paint for a Mustang layup, and we'll pause for a Wekiva timeout. 30-second timeout requested by Wekiva.
You see,
We'll be right back.
James scored.
All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena. Coach Butts wanted to tweak something there, and probably can't blame him. The Mustangs just not getting as good looks at the basket since halftime. Foul is called against Mustangs number 15, Emmy James. That's her second personal foul. It's the team's second this half. I'm going to say that was on the floor, so the Tigers will get the ball at the opposing baseline. Open three. Now good.
Good job there by Williams, anticipating where the ball was going to go, and an even better job of getting that ball up the court there.
Smith loses the ball to a steal by Amani Fitzgerald. Gonna go the other way, see if anything can get done in transition. Bowles gonna make a foul here. Denisha Bowles is called on the Mustangs foul. That's her third, the team's second this half. With the line shooting two, Amani Fitzgerald.
So as you just mentioned, Mark, 3 fouls on Denisha Bowles. And that could come into play here, even with the 16-point lead. Already is coming into play as Coach Butts takes Bowles out. Of course, Wekiva has caught some huge breaks there. Jones not really able to turn those fouls into points there. They are 6 of 13 from the free throw line, so 7 points left on the table. Certainly would help. It would be a 9-point lead instead of 16.
Mariana Garrett from Emmy James. Nice baseline pass there.
Give and go. 18-point lead, the largest of the game. Got a chance to get over 20 now, as Jones is not really trying to make much of an attempt to penetrate.
A block shot there by Fitzgerald. Get the ball back for the Tigers. Illegal hands is called against Mustangs number 42. Erica Simmons, that's her first personal foul. The team's fourth checking into the game for the Mustangs. Shavaria Smith and Madeline Tuzine. Renaya White in for the Tigers.
And James and Williams coming out for the Mustangs. A well-deserved break here.
"30-second timeout is called by the Tigers. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena.
And we've mentioned throughout the game, Mark, the hot field goal percentage. Very strong for Wekiva. Actually dropped a little bit. Went from 59% at halftime. They're now actually only shooting 51%. However, they are shooting a lights out 65% from 2-point range.
Tuesday on the rebound.
So another opportunity for Wekiva to get that lead up over 20.
Shania McCarthy draws the foul, called against number 12, Renata Schofield. That's her first personal foul. The team's third. McCarthy shooting two.
So McCarthy with 4 points as she steps up to the free throw line. 2 of 2 from the field. These are her first 2 free throw attempts.
Checking into the game for the Tigers, number 34, Jayla Hall. And probably a wise thing there. Normally you don't allow a substitution before the first shot, but
yeah, if you couldn't hear the ref, there was some jawing going on.
Two for two at the line for McCarthy.
A very nice stroke there, good follow through. Wekiva with a 20-point lead, largest of the game. And you know, Mark, sometimes you see a mauling, what I call a mauling, a very quick, explosive taking of the lead and then that lead being built on. This has been a much more steady, very gradual building on the lead by Wekiva. They haven't really done anything outside of field goal percentage that really stands out, but they have done everything solidly.
Tuesday gets fouled on the rebound. Foul called against number 10, Christiana Williams. Her second, the team's fourth. Mayanna Garrett is fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot two for the Mustangs. Foul is called against number 34, Jayla Hall. It's her first personal foul, and it's the team's fifth.
So smart play there by Garrett. To be honest, she really did not have a shot. She was sideways, certainly not squared up to the basket, was not facing it. But as soon as the contact was made, she threw that ball up there to get the trip to the free throw line.
Garrett 2 for 2 at the line.
And now 10 points for Garrett.
Erica Simmons takes a charge. Foul's called against number 3, Kamaya Webb, her second personal foul. And it's the team's sixth. Checking into the game for the Tigers, number 5, Renaya White.
Now Wekiva, Jones, full court, man-to-man. Both teams have played
man-to-man.
Nice pass,
look at that. Shadaria Smith to Erica Simmons for 2. Made that look a lot easier than it actually was.
Yeah, great pass. Again, example of transition offense. Only need 2 passes to get the ball to Simmons just to the right of the hoop.
3 not going to fall for White. Second chance basket won't go for Hall either, but who scored that? Third chance basket is made by number 15, Amani Fitzgerald.
One of the few opportunities that Jones has been able to get those, as you like to say, second and third opportunity baskets to fall.
Out of bounds, Tigers ball.
It's the first turnover of the second half here by Wekiva. So again, only 7 turnovers for both teams, and done a good job here in the second half so far. Jones with only 3, Wekiva with 1. So turnovers so far has not really determined this rather large lead for Wekiva. Again, it's been field goal percentage. Wekiva shot over 50% for the whole game.
Erica Simmons is called on the block. That's her second personal foul. The team's fifth. Three, no good, too hot. Garrett on the rebound. Finds an open man. Oh boy. We got a pile up.
Rush hour traffic under the basket there.
Madeline Tuesday is fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. Foul is called against Amani Fitzgerald. That's her second personal foul. And it's the team's 7th.
So Tuesday with 2 points, 1 of 1 from the floor. This is their first and second free throw attempts. And again, you know, we mentioned this so far in all the home games. Tuesday was on the varsity team last year as a freshman along with Shania McCarthy, and they were instrumental in winning the state championship.
Emmy James and Denisha Bowles back in for Wekiva. Two misses, but Bowles gets the rebound. James can't get the jumper to fall. Susie fought really hard for that one. Well, it's still contested. And, oh dear.
Yeah, I don't think you need description to understand what was going on there. Tempers flaring. It's been a long night for Jones.
You see Coach Biaggi, the athletic director, coming over here to make sure the situation remains contained. We're going to have a discussion by the officials here, probably going to pass out some technical fouls in addition to the held ball.
So, well, we got this opportunity, Mark. As we mentioned, Wekiva comes in 3-3. This is only the second game that they've had all 5 of their attended starters actually start, and I think we're really seeing what can be done when they do have all 5 of their starters. They have the rotation, the full complement of their main rotation. So in the meantime,
Technical foul is called against Amani Fitzgerald. At the line shooting free throws for the Mustangs, Bree Williams.
So, Mark, you want to explain that? I was going to say there was about 2 minutes of discussion with the coaches and the refs.
Yeah, so Fitzgerald was called with a technical foul for punching, and that also is going to disqualify her, as she was previously cautioned for mouthing off to the official during a previous free throw attempt. And the result of that also will be a report filed with the FHSAA, of course. We're going to wait for things to get cleared up here.
Yeah, I want to give credit to the refs. They did a good job of what could have been a very combustible situation. As we mentioned, this game has turned into a very long one for the Jones Tigers. It did not turn into a combustible situation. Again, the refs also, their decisions and how they handle the players on the court also has an effect on the fans in the stands.
Right, and we saw Coach Biaggi, Coach Griffin immediately come over to make sure everything was under control here, and then go back to the fans where Mr. and Mrs. Hudson, our #1 Mustang fans, were helping on the crowd side of the field. Good show of sportsmanship by Emmy James and the remaining players on the court.
So, remember, you get into the middle of a game. One of the things that makes sports so great is that it's a great arena for emotions to be displayed, the whole range. And you throw in emotions with some very hot, it gets very hot in the arena here. And things can get out of hand as far as, like I said, combustion, many elements that can explode very quickly.
Foul is called against Jalea Hall. That's her second, the team's ninth. James shooting.
So when all's said and done, Mark, and we get back to playing here with a minute 45, Wekiva has a 25-point lead now, the highest of the game. And Wekiva remains in the man-to-man defense. We're probably not going to see any changes from Coach Butts. No reason to.
Bree Williams is called on the push. Her first personal foul. The team's sixth. Hall can't get the jumper to go. The rebound goes to Tuzi.
That wide open shot there for Hall. Probably not used to being that open in the paint either.
Emmy James to Madeline Tuzi for two.
And Wekiva's rolling now. A minute left in the third quarter. You saw that beautiful give and go there. James on the baseline behind the back pass. Easy shot.
Jumper for White.
Under a minute to go here. Wekiva looking to extend the lead back up to 27, possibly even 28.
Shanaria Smith punches into the key for two. Three missed by White will go to Madeline Tuzi. Denisha Bowles gets a no call. Rebound goes to Hall.
So a lot of action. It all winds up with Wekiva having the opportunity to get the last shot at the third quarter.
And that takes us to the end of the third period. 56-29 is your score going into the final 8 minutes of Tuesday night basketball action here at Mustang Arena. We'll be right back. Tigers have the opening possession of the fourth period. All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi here with Neil Fisher, ready to take you to the finish line on this one. One has been a dominant performance, almost the opposite of what we saw in the JV game. And the Mustangs have a comfortable lead here to start the fourth. We're going to start, though, with a foul as Renaya White draws the foul going up. She'll go to the line and shoot two. The Mustang foul is called against Emmy James, her third, and the team's seventh.
So looking at the stats here, Mark, they certainly reflect the score. As you mentioned, Wekiva has been dominant. It took them about 2.5 minutes to find their game. Once they have rolled. Of course, the centerpiece of this dominance has been the field goal percentage, 51 for Wekiva. They actually were up to 59 at halftime, but still very impressive at 51, 21 to 41. Jones not struggling, to put it mildly, 10 to 40 for 25. Wekiva also has a 36 to 19 advantage in rebounds.
Denisha Bowles to Madeline Tuzzi for two.
As we continue to see that dominance there, that's why you're shooting 51%. Great give and goes, good picks, moving the ball well, getting shots within 6 feet of the basket. And I also mentioned the dominance on the rebounds. That continues as well.
Denisha Bowles from Bree Williams.
So the bunny there, the bunny shot from just underneath the basket by Bowles.
And we'll rack up probably about 2 turnovers on each side in a row there.
Yeah, and speaking of turnovers, usually that is a key component. It usually sticks out when you get a lead this big. Has not been the case. Only 10 for Jones and 9 for Wekiva entering this period.
Foul is called against number 2, Takaya Alston. That's her first personal foul, the team's 10th. Madeline Tuzzi will shoot 2.
Wekiva now taking its 19th and 20th attempt. Actually, this will be 14 here in the second half.
Checking into the game for the Tigers, number 12, Renata Schofield.
So today has scored 6 points, 3 of 3 from the field. Has yet to make a free throw attempt. 3 have been taken now. Six and a half minutes left.
Cassiana Williams on the pass from Renaya White. Amanda McClendon returns to the game for the Mustangs.
And so, Mark, with a 28-point lead here and 6 minutes left, I also want to talk about this. We've been talking about it all season. The FHSAA made some changes during the offseason as we had turnover.
Denasia Sutherland steals 2 for the Tigers.
And getting back to those changes, all of which falls under the umbrella of there are no longer 9 classifications, there are 7.
Full timeout is called by the Tigers. Well, Neil, we'll let you explain that when we come back. All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena. We tried resetting our video card. I noticed the video was freezing up there a little bit on us earlier. So we tried giving it a good reset, kicking the pants, and see if we can get some smoother video for you for these last 6 minutes.
And so as I was mentioning, Mark, there are no longer 9 classifications. There are 7.
Out of bounds, Mustangs ball.
And what that means is pretty much the feel and the decisions are going to be quite different. Obviously, if you have less classifications, that means you have bigger districts. About 8 years ago, the FHSAA went to 9 to 8 classes, and that, of course, and since then there have been no more than 5 teams in each district. Now we're going to see no less than 7. And
foul is called against number 11, Amanda McClendon. That's her first, the team's 8th. Renaya White will shoot. 1-1 bonus.
So Jones only 7 of 15 from the line, make that 7 of 16. And along with those larger districts, of course, you're not going to have as many district games percentage-wise. But also it changes the decisions of the coaches. You're going to see a much wider range of styles, a much wider range of defenses and offenses. And you also probably are going to have to travel more, not just as far as distance to an individual school or game, but also the combined amount. Of course, the biggest change brought about, or the most tangible, is the FHSAA postseason tournament qualifying. And that is pretty much, in the past, the 4 district champions in each of the 4 regions earned an automatic berth.
Bowles to Garrett.
And then the runner-up, or the other team that made it to the district championship tournament final, also got a berth into the FHSAA postseason. The district champions will still get the automatic berth. However, the 4 other seeds, or the 4 other qualifiers in each region, will be done according to wild card, and those wild cards will be determined according to a point system overseen by MaxPreps.com.
Garrett had a good look. Amanda McClendon on the putback. So she's in the books for tonight. Something else I should point out is that Jones, while they have a fairly large roster on Max Preps, which may include their JV team, I'm not sure, they only actually brought 8 players with them today. And so having one of them disqualified, they now have just 2 on the bench, and that forces all of the Tigers to have a lot of minutes and really pushes the stamina game in the Mustangs' favor.
Yeah, and the player who was disqualified, of course, that's Amani Fitzgerald. She is still the leading scorer.
Long 2-point jump shot from Renaya White, the pass from Kosiana Williams.
A beautiful rotation there by the Tigers. And I know this can't be making Coach Butts very happy, the trouble holding on to the ball, even though they do have a big lead. Obvious travel there.
No basket, traveling, Tigers ball.
And as I was explaining what...
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Stephanie White.
And as I was explaining, Wekiva has not really been doing a good job holding on to the ball. If you prefer turnovers, they commit yet another one. That was just an unforced one. Not sure quite what went on there, but there's like 3 steps taken.
Push is called against Mustangs number 20, Stephanie White. That's her first personal foul, the team's 9th. Shooting will be Renaya Schofield.
So Wekiva had only 9 turnovers entering this 4th quarter. They have had 5 alone here in the 4th quarter. So Schofield, a rough night for her personally. She has yet to score any points.
And that'll be a violation on the shot there. Didn't touch the rim. That's an automatic team rebound for the Mustangs. Foul is called against number 5, Renaya White. That's her third personal foul. And the Mustangs are in double bonus. At the line shooting 2, Stephanie White.
And as you mentioned, White just entered the game about 30 seconds ago.
And she's got a point in the book now.
So certainly we are now in that part of the game when players who don't see a lot of time can come in and gain some experience.
Good offensive board there for Erica Simmons. Timeout Mustangs. Full timeout requested by Wekiva. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 2 minutes, 54 seconds remaining in the ball game. Mark Barchi here with Neil Fisher, ready to take you to the finish line here. Neil, this one is just not materialized for the Tigers.
Yeah, rough night. And again, I think we saw that about midway through the third quarter when we had some punches thrown.
Yeah, some frayed nerves, certainly, some frustration, an emotional moment, and a learning opportunity there. But even outside of that, the Mustangs defense has just been successful at frustrating the Tigers tactically all night. And you see the score 65-36. And something that's telling about that is that of the 65 points, 44 of them have come from 2-point field goals. Just 9 have come from beyond the arc. And that means that the Mustangs are really achieving good inside penetration. We've seen a lot of assists tonight. In fact, the Mustangs are up to a grand total of 16 assists. And that gives you an idea of how well the Mustangs are handling the ball control and not just getting lucky on perimeter shooting.
Yeah, a lot of dribble penetration. There's an example.
Amy James. Yeah, she took too many steps there to actually get a formal assist, but it was still a well-designed play by the Mustangs.
Yeah, excellent execution. So
Erica Simmons takes a charge for Wekiva. Foul is called against number 4, Denasia Sutherland. That's her first. No bonus shots on offensive fouls, but it turns the ball over to the Mustangs.
yeah, and mentioned there, I know this is not something that Coach Butts is going to be happy about. They've had a good possession here coming out of the timeout, but before the timeout, we had 4 consecutive turnovers. So Wekiva's played really well until about 2 minutes ago, and then they got sloppy with that big lead.
Stephanie White picks up a bucket for the Mustangs.
And no sooner do I talk about the sloppy play that they come out and get that ball up the court on 3 consecutive passes, never touching the floor.
Good box out there. Shadaria Smith had no competition for that rebound. Under a minute to play, and Coach Butts instructs the Mustangs to slow things down here.
Yeah, 27-point lead, no need to further exaggerate the point, I guess you could say, or exasperate. So again, Mark, obviously a very dominant performance. And again, you mentioned that they're moving the ball very well. It did take them about 2.5 minutes to find their game, though. Since then, they have rolled.
Push is called against number 4, Denasia Sutherland. That's her second personal foul. And the team will send James to shoot.
And again, Mark, they have rolled exactly the way you mentioned it. Again, I just want to point out, though, let's not forget dribble penetration has been an excellent part of that. And clearly a number of factors tonight that has made just really Wekiva the better team. Again, about 2.5 minutes were needed. It was a fairly close game, about 2 possessions. And since then, Wekiva has just methodically and steadily increased that lead.
Foul is called against Emmy James. It's her 4th personal foul, the team's 10th. And it will send Renaya White to the line to shoot 2 for the Tigers. And so, for those of you who are playing bingo at home, we did fill up the whole card at the bottom of your screen. Both teams with 10 fouls plus in the books. One of 2 at the free throw line. Simmons on the rebound. Stephanie White.
And just in my closing note, I mentioned it all game, Mark, but the telltale stat really was field goal percentage. Again, that goes back to what you were saying about moving the ball, what I said about getting a lot of dribble penetration. Wekiva shot over 50%. They have over 50 now, while Jones has shot under 25, and they have about 50 as well.
That takes us to the end of the ball game. 73-37, the final score here on Tuesday night varsity girls basketball action. Leading scorers for the Tigers, Alston and Williams had 7 each. Fitzgerald had 10. Mustangs put 3 into double figures. Emmy James, 11 points. Shadaria Smith, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Mayanna Garrett, 12.7 rebounds. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for coming out to support your Mustang and Tiger athletes. Thanks also to those of you who joined us on the NFHS Network or on YouTube Live. Those of you in the arena, please drive carefully and arrive home safely. And those of you on the webcast, thanks for tuning in. My thanks to Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief joining me for tonight's game. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, wishing you a great night.